Hello and welcome, folks, to a very special edition of RSF Radio. I am your host, Joe Monday, but with me on mic tonight, a very special guest. You might know her from her writing all across the internet, pretty much on every FGC outlet there is, mostly on Red Bull. You could find her as the host of all those Texas Showdown replays. But you absolutely know her as Bison's top doll. It's Ginni Lou. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing really good.
So I guess we can start talking by asking, like, how did you find yourself in the position of being the host of Texas Showdown? How'd that work out?
Oh boy, so that's a really interesting question.
I know I came in hot on that one. We had set up so many other things and then curveball right at the last minute. But how'd that work out?
You know, that's perfect because it just gets it started and I just have to think. So that's kind of a difficult question though, because I started out like doing stuff in the fighting game community through writing first. And I started doing that through a website called par.gg, which is still like in development. I'm not sure if it's like in beta or what, but it is super cool and you guys should check it out because if you like the Shoryuken forums, they're really, it's like a really in-depth kind of way to talk about fighting games, but also kind of social. But anyway, about
they
this
have
time
like forums over there. I actually have not perused them that much. I only kind of know it through articles that you've shared.
Yeah, it has like character profiles. You can go in. You can find out, like, you can make notes about the character, like for matchups and stuff like that. You can create combos. You can upload your own videos and like talk about recent tournaments, stuff like that. And they're constantly adding new features as well. It is a super cool website, and I think it has a lot of potential. But a lot of people don't know about it, so that is a thing that is in the making.
Okay.
But yeah, I started writing for them about this time last year, maybe like a little bit before April. I think I started writing in, I think it was around April, and then I went to Texas Showdown because I had planned on going, and I just kept writing for them for a few months throughout the summer, and then. Event Hubs picked me up because they were interested in what I had to write. Because I think I was at Absolute Battle and Velociraptor was there. And I talked to him about writing it for a bit. And he was like, hey, we're looking for freelancers. Would you like to do a little writing? And I was like, absolutely. So I started doing that and kept doing that. And then my work got sent to my editor at Red Bull. And he was like super into what I was doing. And so I was able to make a lot of really cool pieces for them, which I still do. And about that time, I remember I had made a bunch of friends through the fighting game community and tournament organizers and stuff. And it was at that time whenever I started wanting to do a little bit more. I wanted to like host things because I was seeing like, you know, in the big esports events, they have like a hostess that will, you know, interview the players or kind of talk about the event and then bring it back to the commentators or the match. And I was like, that sounds really fun, you know, because you see Persia kind of doing stuff like that. And she was a big inspiration. So Javi, who runs Texas Showdown, he was like, hey, look, we are, you know, going to be doing Texas Showdown a little bit different. He was like, they wanted to up the production. And he was like, would you be interested in hosting? And I was like, yeah, of course. So I jumped all over it. And I had hosted before at Kumite, Tennessee, like a little bit. I did a few camera segments with them, so it was a really fun experience. Texas Showdown. It was great. Production was great. Staff was great as always. I love working with Valle and Jimmy and Javi. They're all great. I was super embarrassed if you couldn't tell, or not embarrassed. I was nervous because like I don't know. That was my first huge event being in front of the camera, so I did flub a few things, but I gained a lot of experience and it was just a good time.
It's good to see a host like that who like actually knows what the fuck she's talking about.
Yeah, it was.
I don't want to like generalize too much or like make myself sound like a bigot, but all I'm saying is that like it's like, but maybe that's only because I know you through all of your writing. I'm able to connect that name to a face now. But for other people, they might not know you through your writing. So like, I kind of want to dig into that now and how fucking prolific you are. It is, by the way, you can curse. I don't know if I told you before we started, but you can curse if it wasn't obvious.
Awesome, great.
You can also, you know, if you're 21, you can drink on a podcast.
Wonderful. I have
don't know
no
what the
wine.
podcast laws are about drinking on podcasts. It's 18 years here, folks. It's actually not true. I think I can get arrested for that.
Oh boy.
But so for you, you've got, I know at least you have one article coming up
Yes.
for Red Bull, but I kind of want to just talk about your history of writing and how, as someone who does writing themselves, not freelance writing as you do, I know what that freelance grind is like. And it is, I mean, you can explain your journey and the grind that it is. And I'm kind of curious as to what that experience has been like for you.
Oh yeah, it's been, well, first of all, I think Michael Martin was actually kind of talking to me about this, and I'm not sure if I got this quote from him or someone else. I'm pretty sure it was from Michael though. He said freelancing is a full-time job, and that's true. Especially if you're trying, if like that's your main income, like, yeah, it is a full-time job, because especially if you're trying to do like news pieces or like current events within like games, you have to, you know, constantly be on top of things, looking at the news, like keeping up with social media.
Yeah.
And like your brain isn't really ever turned off from like trying to find pitches and like interesting ideas or trends that are happening like throughout the community. And if you're doing fighting
when you
games,
say full-time job, you're not talking about 5/8, a cool 40 and punching the clock. It's literally all the time.
It's just the grind. Yeah, it's just time. That's what I meant. Yeah. But you know, the more you do it, the more exposure you get, and the more like people you can write for to expand your portfolio, which is important. So plus you get experience. And I know that working for Red Bull has been really great as far as like learning more, because they've coached me, my editor has coached me so well, and just like kind of how to go about like an angle, or like how to, you know, approach things versus not approach things, you know, that I wouldn't have known before. And I've been writing, you know, for a long time. So that was really good. But yeah,
I want to say, I don't want to show my bias here, but I kind of want to say, just as a reader, that I feel like the Red Bull articles are the best edited FGC articles out there right now.
Yeah, I definitely, and this isn't just me, but like my editor, I don't know, am I allowed to mention him? His name is Barrett Womack.
That's up to you. I mean, like, I know who you're talking about. I think he's a good dude. You can out this guy for what he is.
Okay.
As being,
well,
because like does he have like a huge following? He fucking should. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy.
He's amazing. He's such a good person, but not only that, he is super intelligent, and like he's able to identify things and talk about them so intelligently and thoroughly, and that just astounds me. And like every time that I come up with a pitch or I give him like a draft, he manages to be like, oh, did you think about this, or did you do this? And like that blows my mind. And so I'm like, oh no, I didn't. And so the article ends up being 1,000 times better than when I had it. So like half the reason why my writing is as good as it is today in general, and also why the Red Bull articles are so good, is like because I have a great editor. So definitely follow him on Twitter if you're interested in like news, esports, and stuff.
To spell his name out fully, if you have his address, please leave it. Just gonna out this fool right now. I actually do have his address. Oh God, please do. That was absolutely a joke. Please stop.
Send him some flowers, please. He deserves it.
At flowers.com. That's a great sponsorship opportunity. Hey. Flowers.com. Just enter in dick bag at the promotion screen, and you get to send Derek some flowers. This goes directly to his P.O. box.
Yeah, his P.O. box, not his home address.
Yeah. So you've written, we could talk about articles in specifics, because you have a couple things coming up. So let's talk about the one that is most pressing. I don't know when this podcast is going to go live, but I want it to be after this article goes live at some point. Now, I say that out loud thinking, well, yeah, I know how freelance can be, where you give them an article and then it doesn't get posted for like a month or something. That's like a thing that can happen. But the latest one that you have coming up, can you talk about that at all?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I was looking at some stuff that was happening, and especially like having Soul Calibur at Texas Showdown, I was thinking about how much Bandai Namco has going on for the fighting game like community at large. They have 3 amazing fighting games about to come out, which including Soul Calibur 6. And I was just thinking about like, okay, Tekken 7 has a huge fan base. They have a huge player base. The game is good. Dragon Ball FighterZ has a huge player base, and it's the 3v3 game assist fighter that people were really looking for with NBCI.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got really successful. And then you have Soul Calibur coming out. And I was thinking, wow, we don't have many companies that are like putting fighting games as a priority, which was crazy. And I was like, this is what I wish that all companies would do, is like make fighting games their priority. And so I wanted to kind of write about just how, despite like a lot of other 3D fighters falling by the wayside, like Dead or Alive and Virtua Fighter, they're not really a thing. We do have Virtua Fighter like coming back and like doing those like nostalgia circuits and stuff. But I'm really impressed with how Bandai is going about things, and I think that they deserve some recognition. And I think a lot of people can look forward to really good circuits from them. Not with like Dragon Ball, but with like Tekken and Soul Calibur coming up. I think they're going to be like the kings of fighting games, honestly.
No, so hold on a minute. That makes me curious. No circuit for Dragon Ball?
Well, I mean, not a sponsored one because of, I think, their rights with the anime.
Oh,
I think that
you know what? Never mind. That totally makes sense. Like thinking about the finance of that. Yeah. Never mind. That makes sense. Why they wouldn't.
Well, because we had the Summit of Power that's coming up, which is really cool, but that's like not through them. So
yeah, that's a totally different beast that we could dig into. I haven't prepped my notes for that one, so I don't know if we will talk about that. By the way, this is a Street Fighter podcast, by the way. Hello and welcome to RSF Radio, where we talk about Street Fighter stuff. No, but this is like FGC forward stuff. So like, Dragon Ball Z, obviously huge game right now. Tekken, if you don't follow the Tekken scene, it is the strongest that it's been in years, I want to say. And I would be very excited for some kind of Tekken tour. The
Tekken World Tour is they had an event. It was a ranking event at Texas Showdown, and I think the winner got like 150 points or something crazy. So that was a really important event, and everyone was super focused. And I remember,
does your article cover exactly what that entails or what we can look forward to? Yeah,
I do actually talk about the tour. I don't talk about the next one on the list. I mean, I can. But basically, like, it's just like, I kind of compare it to the Capcom Pro Tour whenever I explain it to people, because, I mean, you have multiple events, where you have people competing for the top, how many spots, and then at the end of the year, you get together at a certain locale, and you have your best players that have made the rankings go against each other. I think they did a round robin last year, so it was kind of crazy, and they had people, like, the players were able to pick their own teams, so, like, that was nuts. That was so cool. I remember being there for that. And then the finals was also really great. So that whole thing, I think the Tekken World Tour is amazing, and not enough people pay attention to it. I think more people should be watching.
It's because those finals were extremely exciting.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Tekken in general is just very exciting to watch. It's one of those.
It really
things,
is.
Like, it's one of those things that I didn't understand it until recently. It was actually until I visited Texas, until I visited Houston and saw the Tekken community down in Houston. And then I was like, oh, I get it. I get it now. Like, being around people who all understand Tekken and could like explain things to me and like kind of bring me into the fold and be like, oh no, this guy's about to get fucked up. Watch this shit. It was so exciting. And then like Tekken 7 is like the perfect game for anyone who loves Tekken. Like,
yes,
it is hard for me to describe that, and especially to someone who doesn't know about Tekken. Like, if you were listening to this podcast and you basically only play Street Fighter games, if you don't really understand Tekken, understand it. If you understand one thing, understand that Tekken 7 is like the perfect Tekken game right now for the people who love Tekken. So to speak. At least I feel like it's that way. There's like a couple of things about it that aren't like, it is not like the perfect Tekken game, but it's like the perfect Tekken game for Tekken players.
I've been told from the people here in Denver that like it's easier, but in a way that isn't like dumbed down. It's just more accessible.
Yes.
And that's why like the scene's kind of blowing up like it is, because you have the vets who are coming back because Tekken 7, new Tekken, and we didn't have it for a long time, and it was just in Japan, and then now we've got it and we're able to compete, and so everyone's really excited, but people are able to get into it now and kind of understand it a bit better. We actually had a 16-year-old girl take second at our local here in Denver, and that was insane. That was like one of the most hype like local experiences I've ever had, because she was not even from here. Like she had just moved, and she was like, I want to go to this arcade, and she came and she was all serious, and like she went in there and kicked everybody's butts besides the last guy that, well, she actually did beat the guy who beat her in grand finals before, but he switched the matchup on her and she didn't know how to react. So it was insane.
I think I remember seeing that.
I've tweeted about it. Yeah. Her name's Pit Viper. Yeah, she's so cool.
Yes. That's correct. No, that's fucking awesome. Word. The one thing, my one gripe, and I always have to bring this up, is that I really hope my like the last bastion of hope for a Bandai game to have a proper tutorial in it. I want Soul Calibur to have like a proper, good, thorough tutorial, because there's so many good examples of tutorials out there. So many good examples, right? I
mean, I just want Tekken Cross Street Fighter. That's all I want.
Okay, so that is a whole other conversation to get into. I mean, do you think that game? I mean, there has been no official statement on whether or not that game has been canceled. That game's not dead officially.
It is an idea, and like everyone I talked to has been like, oh, you know, well, we basically got it with Akuma, you know, and I was like, I mean, we basically have CVS 3 if you count Geese, so I mean,
yeah, honestly.
But I don't like that explanation. I think that it is a thing that could happen. I just don't know if it will. I think that if the people want it bad enough, it might happen. I mean, here's the thing: Harada is super, super like responsive on social media.
Oh yeah.
And even though he has like a "don't ask me for shit" shirt, you know, he's actually like super open to ideas and such. And I think that I would like for it to happen again. I think it would be what everyone wants.
No, there's actually a really good article of like he's so like fighting game forward in terms of like developers go. He's one of the better minds in the business right now. There's a really good article. I actually talked about it on this show like fucking weeks ago. Him and like the original developers of, or one of the original developers of Street Fighter 2, just like having a conversation about like
I think I saw that
development of fighting games, and it's just like to have someone pick his brain like that was just super interesting, and having that like come through fruition on like Tekken 7 or any future fighting games, like for example Tekken Cross Street Fighter, which may or may not be. There was that one image of Tekken Ryu, like, God, was that, how long ago was that? Was that more than a decade ago? It feels like it was a decade ago.
Wouldn't it be so tight to see Bison and Tekken graphics? I would lose my mind. I would play Tekken so hard. I mean, I've already said I'm going to play Tekken because Geese is in it, but I'm like, if you put Bison in it, I'll play.
I mean, if there's anything that is like Bison related that like wouldn't get you hard for I mean like honestly, I mean you mentioned that, but it's like, yeah, fucking obviously, like no, like I follow you on Twitter, it's gross, it's grotesque.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna kink shame here with the Bison.
I'm getting roasted.
No, I'm sorry. It's fine. It's fine. I don't want to.
That's just who I am, man. You know.
It's. I'm glad you embrace it for all of us, for the little Bison who lives inside of all of us. Okay, so off of Bandai games, we can talk about. So let's talk about Street Fighter games. The last article that you wrote about Street Fighter stuff. Oh man, I actually don't know the timeline on this. Was it the Zeku one or was it the?
The last article that I did for what?
So let's talk about the Zeku article.
Yeah.
The one that you just wrote. So what can you tell me about Zeku? Tell me about the Zeku.
The Zeku article? Okay, so basically I was doing this series for Esports Terminal, which is a little like startup little website. And it was a series that I had done before on my own time with Par, and I just did it on my own. And it was basically, it's kind of where we just talk about a character, and the people who main that character really famously just kind of get to talk to them and ask them like their opinions on the character, you know, like if you could give them a buff, what would you give them? You know, what are their greatest strengths and weaknesses? Why do you like this character so much? Like, do you identify with them personally, or is it just the way that they play? You know, et cetera, et cetera. I think that kind of thing is really cool and interesting. And like, especially when we get creative with it, like, oh, like what are the changes that you would make, you know, to this character? You know, it can be something totally outrageous, or like something that would like even the playing field a bit. Right. So EST helped me do that again. And we recently did one about Zeku, which was funny because Sanford. So I started doing the interviews like way before Sanford won was the night, or not Sanford, NLBC. Actually, the week that we were set to release it, he did that, and I was like, "Wow, that's crazy!"
Perfect timing.
I know, but yeah, they both talked
go.
about. They both talked really in depth about Zeku, and I was really, because sometimes whenever I interview people about this, they give kind of like just normal responses, which is totally fine. But I know that Bushin Style and Sanford, they both like really went in depth on their responses, and were like, they really love this character and they want to win, you know. And with Zeku, you do have to work really hard, and so it was really fun to talk to them about that.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. It's funny that you bring that up. That there aren't that many. It's maybe that I feel like there aren't that many people who are like truly passionate about the characters that they play.
Yeah. And
not just passionate in the way that they play the character, but like just like the aesthetics of the character.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, because I actually wrote a piece about character loyalty for Red Bull, which we were actually supposed to talk about. But like,
yeah, I mean, we can get. I mean, listen. I don't stick to the order. I've got a script for. Hey, little podcast insider notes. I've got a script. Not fucking sticking to it. Plays it fast and loose. That's how I like to play my podcasts.
Oh man,
I like my podcasts like I like my women fast and loose.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You can shame me for that joke if we're gonna.
I was going to say you're kink shaming me, but then you're talking about your sex life. Hold on a minute.
Yikes. Okay.
But yeah, I think character loyalty, just like you said, is really interesting. Because like you don't see a lot of people just like embracing their character like totally.
Right.
Like
or
I mean, you have
or we
players.
used to, but then people have fallen off of that, especially for Street Fighter V.
Oh yeah, because you're just trying to stick with who wins, right? Like,
right. I feel like one of the like the heartbreaker quintessential examples of this is Snake Eyes and Zangief.
Yeah, because he's always. I mean, yeah, I actually
sad.
wrote about him because like he, was Zangief all the way, and then Abigail came out, and Zangief got those nerves, and it's like, wow, I can't even win with him anymore. And like whenever I interviewed him at Texas Showdown, I was like, hey, are you gonna stick with Zangief? Are we gonna see Abigail come out? And he was like, yeah, Abigail's gonna have to come out, and that was just heartbreaking because I wanted to see him go with Zangief like he did last year, but he got nerfed into the floor. So
yeah.
It's okay. Don't cry. Is this a therapy session?
It could be. We can talk about Mother's Day if you want, but I don't know if we want to go
okay.
there.
How about we don't?
Yeah, how about we don't do that? No, listen. All my FGC moms out there, happy Mother's Day.
Yeah,
so glad you're out there. Happy Mother's Day to all you guys. Anyone with a great relationship with their mom, happy Mother's Day to you. Anyone who doesn't have a great relationship, celebrate the people that love you. That's all I gotta say about that. But no, it was super sad to see him drop Zangief. And like, I get it though. As a professional player, as someone who like is a sponsored player, someone who's trying to get paid and make a career out of it, it just doesn't make sense to stick with Zangief. He's just not, with how volatile a game that Street Fighter V can be, it doesn't necessarily make sense to stick with Zangief.
Yep.
Even if Zangief is very exciting. I happen to find, and granted, I'm a grappler apologist, and I have the Zangief bias, I know. But I just feel like Zangief, when you see Zangief do well, you get excited for two reasons.
That's true. That is true. Well, okay, like we can go back to last Texas Showdown. It was insane. Like grand finals was him and Smug, and the hype was nuts because it was like, oh, Zangief. And then he went again to CEO and got second there. No, he didn't. He won that one. But seeing Zangief win, was so it was so hype. It was so hype.
Well, like you watch Itabashi Zangief play, and it's just it's incredible because especially if you know the character and you know any of his matchups, and you think, oh man, that was such a risk that he took. That was a huge gamble, and it paid off. And it creates so much excitement because of like.
Well, I mean, and we still have people that love Abigail because first of all, like he's just like a big dumb goofy dude who's like, vroom vroom, I love cars. But you have the people that like get super hype and are like vroom vroom, and they're just like running around the crowd, like that kind of stuff is what it's about, and I enjoy the hype. So I think it's okay, personally.
I like that. I mean, I guess that is the other thing. I actually do get excited about Abigail, and I love how pissed off he makes people. Yeah, I eat that up. It's so good. That's the sodium I need in my diet right there. It's so good. But okay, so we talked a little bit about Zeku. We talked about character loyalty. I guess we can start talking about things that have appeared on the sub recently, and I could talk to you about your opinions on these things if you want to head in that direction.
That's totally fine. Let's go for it.
Okay, let me pop this thing, and I don't actually need to. It's just for video purposes. But so recently, Arturo Sanchez took to Twitter, and he said, "I'm not going to let these pirate uploader scumbags," that was editorializing. I added the scumbags. He did not say scumbags at this juncture, "run amok anymore," specifically calling out people who are pirating streams and uploading them faster than he can upload them, and thus cutting a portion of his potential earnings with early videos. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think he's totally in the right to be upset about it. He's mentioned it before. Lapshi's mentioned it before. Several uploaders have. And
yeah, when I say this right now, like, this is not a brand for anyone who is listening who might think that this, like, oh, how, like, this is crazy that Arturo would, like, blow up like this, but, like, no, this has been a thing for a very long time, to be clear.
Yeah.
Since, like, the origin of him streaming, basically.
Yeah, I feel for him because, like, that's a huge deal. TeamSpeak is a big deal, and, like, they're the ones that are streaming the event. So, to me, I sympathize, and I think YouTube was supposed to crack down on that as well. I saw some news where, people that do, like, the copycat videos and such, their revenue will be going towards the original channel or something like that. So,
yeah, something like compensatory. The revenue, or like it locks the revenue and sends it towards the. But then again, I mean, Arturo has a fairly large channel, but in the grand scheme of YouTube channels, it's not an enormous channel. It's not the big numbers of someone who can really throw weight around with copyright claims, even if he makes them. And I know that has worked for him in the past, and other people who upload videos as well, that you can do that. But at the same time, it's a hassle. It's not his job to, or at least it shouldn't be his. All right, so let's put it this way. It is not currently his job to be the police of YouTube, to flag copyright claims on his own. And if it was his job, then he needs to be paid more, and not just from the revenue he should already be getting from the videos, because, like, it's not a huge amount, like, is the other thing after, like, the whole adpocalypse of YouTube, where like you need a ton of views to actually make any kind of reasonable revenue off of YouTube videos. So, like, it's not really, or at least it can't be his job. And then I saw people saying, well, what if, I mean, he should just hire someone to like upload videos for him. And it's like, well, okay.
Yeah, but it's also like, is that worth it? Like, just have someone do that. All the stuff that would go into that. Yeah, and then might as well just get a secretary at that point to just, like, do all the little things.
Right. And even at that point, then you're paying.
I personally think that TOs should have a secretary, because a lot of them are trying to do real life and tournament organization. I mean, seriously, like, Jimmy and I have talked about this, like, Hog and I have talked about it. Man, like, tournament organizers are super hardworking guys, and they
absolutely,
and, like, even streamers like Art, like, they're working really hard, and they have to, I mean, because Art, he does, like, streaming, like, with Baturino and all that stuff, like, that's his thing. But you have TOs that are trying to do fighting games and have a real life, and they're like, I need someone to help me, like, manage all this, and I think that would be something that you could do, honestly. But I do agree that it's not Arturo's job to be doing that kind of thing.
So we could actually, I kind of want to dig into this more, but now I'm interested in the idea of a tournament organizer secretary.
I mean, it's something that,
explain to me your vision here. I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
Well, because Ginni, I don't know if whatever. We were talking about this because he was like, doing tournament organization for, because he's doing Red Bull Conquest as well as, SoCal regionals and all that stuff. And he has a regular full-time job. So it's like, his life is nuts. And he was like, I think having a secretary would really help, because, I could schedule all my phone calls and whatever, and, like, figure out when I need to do this and that. And honestly, like, I think if you just got someone who, like, knew scene well, and like you could, I don't know, like just be your personal assistant in that way, where you can just like help them schedule and take their like if someone's trying to reach them and they need like an interview or whatever, you can kind of be like that operator for them. Which is kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. So I definitely think it's something that needs to be implemented for those guys, because they are working so hard and they need a little help.
Yeah, it's not a crazy idea, actually. Like, when you said it, I was like, hey, yeah, whenever we get that esports money. But at the same time, like, I can totally understand that. As someone who does have a full-time job and tries to continue to do FGC stuff, it's really fucking hard. Like, there's time sinks. There's just not enough time and hours in a day. Like,
it's definitely like more than a hobby. It's like a lifestyle. And then, whenever you are doing tournament organization, your goal is to like obviously throw a good tournament, but also you need to make money to do it again. And so you're trying to, put your all into this project, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like I got to do laundry at some point. Where's the time in the day to do that? Well, that's an interesting idea, and maybe we can table that one for now. But there are some other things to talk about with streamers and people who rip, and whose responsibility is it? Because really, here's one of the main issues that people don't seem to understand. At least what I saw people responding to this on the sub is that they just said like, well, why are people going to other people's videos and not Art's official videos?
I think it's just like the recommended videos where if you search it, whatever comes up first, you're like, oh, okay, cool. And
yeah, that's exactly. Like, the issue is just availability.
Yeah.
Like, if it's there right away, I would say probably 90% of the viewers of any of those videos have no idea what channel they're actually watching.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's anecdotal evidence, but I would place a very high bet on that. I would put money down, and I'm not a gambling man. But like, it's the video availability. Is like, it comes up first. It's the most seen one. So like, it's not a matter of like product quality or like people wanting to or thinking that, oh well, this came from Team Spooky, so I should probably wait for the official Team Spooky one. It's like, no, you just search, oh, I wonder what happened at Combo Breaker. So you just Google Combo Breaker Grand Finals, like the day after.
And then whatever comes up, yeah.
Whatever comes up. Because like if you're Googling that after the fact, you might not have even known who streamed it. Like, Team Spooky should be a household name in terms of FGC, but like to a large swath of people, I don't know if that's exactly true. For the people who are just casually following tournaments. Oh yeah. Which there's like a lot more of those now.
Yeah.
There's so many more of those now with the popularity of like Dragon Ball fighters and like with a ton of the slew of new players that came on with Street Fighter V. Like, there's just a ton of new people to the community that may or may not know where their content comes from, or certainly don't care where it comes from.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and that's why I sympathize with Art so much, because like, again, he's been mentioning it a long time, and finally he just got fed up, and I was like, you know what, good, like, you're gonna take down this whole system by yourself, and I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, that is the sad part, is that there, for as much as I've thought about this, there is no good like practical solution to this issue that isn't like seed changing with how that entire website is run.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, YouTube is just like a blow up in itself, like with all the stuff, like you said, like Apocalypse and things. But yeah. I mean, I think if they do implement that, like, I don't know, the compensation, I think that would help. But I don't think that's like really what the deal is. Like you said, they should be like the first thing that pops up whenever you go to search whatever. Like, that should be it. So, I mean, I honestly think if they want that to happen, they should have a guy at tournament doing it. Like, I don't know about like the weeklies at NLBC or anything, but like if you have like a major tournament and you want that on YouTube and you streamed it, like, yeah, have a guy there like clipping it and doing all that good stuff and just uploading it as it goes. I think that would be a good solution.
You're correct, but also keep in mind that's a person you have to pay to be there.
Yeah.
because that's not a free job. Like, you don't
Oh
just
no, absolutely
ask
not.
someone to do that, because that could be a full-time job, cutting those videos and uploading them and making sure that.
I mean, that's kind of like the people that they hire for social for events, because they have to like put things from Twitch and like promote it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that could go in the same vein, like where you have a guy who's in charge of like uploading to YouTube. Like, yeah, I think that's something that could totally happen. I was kind of thinking about like the weeklies earlier, just like more casual stuff, and I was like, well, I don't know about that, but like whenever you go to like majors, yeah, for sure.
Right. Or even something that I saw someone suggest that I actually think was a pretty interesting solution. Again, there's a cost to this as well, but they recommended having off-stream matches being recorded. So
yeah, I just saw that comment myself.
Yeah, have like 1 or 2 stations that just have a capture card on it that just like is that in some video, like just it's all set up that there's not streaming to anywhere. You're just recording the video to some small PC that you're just leaving by a station, and having whoever's running the bracket there just keep an eye on everything. Maybe it's close to the booth of where you guys are. I don't know how that would be set up logistically, but then have those videos be uploaded over time until like the next major that you go to, or like over a long period of time. This is like matches you might have missed, because we've like, I've even done this, and I know everyone's done this, because there's a lot of classic videos that are on like hand cam, like
oh yeah,
yeah, it's like FGC classic of just someone standing there with a phone taking like the best recording that they can, digital zoom all the way in, baby, let's go.
You know, but I do think that is a good idea, like doing the off-stream matches, because not only would that be like, oh, that's so cool, like we missed this off-stream match between these two people, but also like it kind of incites interest, like, oh man, this channel does that, well, I'm gonna watch them more, you know. And if like a video gets really popular, then their channel gets more popular. So yeah, I think that's a great idea from whoever said that. Yeah,
but again, there's a cost to that. There's an equipment cost.
Yeah, of course.
Cost to that, which like equipment costs are way more than what someone who doesn't know what goes into it can imagine. Like, it's
of course,
it's fucking ball. It's like professional level equipment stuff. But
I mean, like in a perfect world, that would be so cool. But you know,
yeah, I know. If logistics weren't an issue,
but you know that is where the IRL stream comes in handy. So you can like stream all those matches from your little hand cam or whatever. Yeah,
that is true. A lot of people are doing that for their own streams now, so it's like, I guess that makes sense for them too. Like Stupendous does that a lot now, and that's cool. But okay, I think we might have mined this one for all of its resources. Unless there's anything else you kind of want to end on here with this.
No, that was pretty good conclusion.
Okay, if not, then we can head into probably the next topic, which makes more sense. Speaking of big events, we can talk about combo. We can talk about Combo Breaker. I mean, I am personally very excited about Combo Breaker. I feel like I don't know what it is. I don't know what's in the air. There's a certain
everyone's like, oh my god, Combo Breaker. It's like
spring has sprung. Let's go, Combo Breaker.
It's like the end of the spring semester, and people are like, oh my god, I just want to leave.
Yeah, people are getting excited about it. And specifically, I kind of want to talk about, because what was released just today, the numbers.
Yes.
The numbers. Talk about
744 for Dragon Ball. That is nuts. I actually asked Rick about that for this article that I'm writing, and was like, hey, do you know how many? And he was like, oh, you'll have to wait until we release them. I was like, all right, cool.
And then
744.
Yeah, dude, that's nuts.
Oh my goodness.
Which, if like for people who aren't looking at those stats, that's the top performer right now.
Yeah. Which is crazy, and I hope that it ends the night, honestly. Like, and this is crazy because I'm like a Capcom stan for life, but like having Dragon Ball into that would be so hype, because I don't really care for Dragon Ball, but I think it's fun because everyone else really likes it and they're really excited about it. So
here's something that I've admitted into a microphone before, and I do feel bad about it, but like, I find Dragon Ball to be very boring to watch. Like, I don't like watching it at all. I love playing. You know, I think it's super fun. Like, it bores me a little bit.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And like, even whenever I try to watch it on like Team Spooky with NLBC, because they play Dragon Ball like a ton, it's just like, I don't really understand it. Because like, first of all, I'm not from like 3v3 assist fighters or assist fighters in general. Those aren't my things. So like I'm sitting here trying to learn it, and like seems okay, but it's kind of confusing to me. And whenever a lot of things are happening on screen at once, I have a hard time understanding what's going on, which is why I never played any Marvel or anything like that, because there's just too much.
I can understand
like,
that.
sensory overload. Yeah.
I can understand it. And also, it's like also to Dragon Ball's detriment, I feel like not a lot of the information is made available, even to the players who are playing. There's some stuff that is somewhat hidden that might not be easily seen. But just to me, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, it's Dragon Ball, man.
I get it. I've watched some 3v3s. I know when the Vegeta assist comes out. I see that. Like, when I see a good play in Dragon Ball, I recognize it. I know why it's good. Oh, yeah. I just...
Like, the general stuff is easy to recognize, but, like, sometimes whenever people freak out on, like, what are we freaking out about? Especially when it comes to, like, tier lists and stuff. Like, I'm not too familiar with, like, who's really strong and who's not.
Sure.
But yeah, like again, like you said, it's still super fun to watch because everyone else is super excited about it.
Yes,
and it's like everyone knows all the characters, even if you don't watch the anime. I've never really watched it, but I know who everyone is, and so it's like, oh, it's cool.
There's a general fervor in the room when that game gets played. That the excitement is palpable for sure. And with that, which we saw the numbers, he posted those on Twitter. On Combo, I should actually bring up the exact. Do you have the exact numbers up?
I did have it in a screenshot. Hold on, let me find it.
I'm sorry.
Making me do all the work on your
I know, yeah. I was supposed to be the one who was like fucking ready, right?
It's okay. Let me find it here. Just kidding, I can't find it. Wait, nope, okay. It is Dragon Ball FighterZ 744, Street Fighter V 676. So that's significantly below Dragon Ball, in my opinion.
No, that is true, considering.
Tekken 7 472, Xrd 337, Injustice 222, Unised 164, which is crazy, and I'm so excited for that.
That's so fucking rad. I keep telling people Unised is the best game nobody plays. It's the best game that nobody plays. The tutorial is the best. It's the best tutorial. Therefore, it's so good.
Blaze Blue Cross Tag has 140, even though like it's brand new.
It's
Skullgirls 131. And then you have the rest. Mortal Kombat 9 has the lowest with 74. And then King of Fighters 111, Vampire Savior 111. So all the other ones are...
also an MVCI side tournament that hit, was it $140 or is it $110?
It's 123.
123. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like significant for a game that most major streams have dropped as their main events.
Man, that made me so sad. And care about Marvel too much, because I don't really like I said 3v3. Well, this isn't 3v3. It's 2v2, but like assist fighters, just not my thing. But like for me to see that happen, I was really devastated because I was like, man, that's like a game that people were really excited about, and now no one plays it. Like that's just ow. Yeah,
hurts in the heart. But recently, I just turned on the Steam, and it was like, hey, you remember MVCI? Here's a big old download. Do you wonder what's in it?
And everyone's like, oh my god!
I'm like, yeah, I wonder what's in it. What's in this download? You tell me. Wakanda forever. Let's go. It's...
Oh my god.
So, regardless. So that's cool. And that's like its own side tournament. But I specifically want to call out something that Rick had said in the Combo Breaker AMA, which happened yesterday, on Monday. We're recording this on a Tuesday. For us, it was a Tuesday. I never put that Bison thing together.
What a perfect day.
Oh, what a perfect day to record this. Oh, my goodness. So he responded, and someone asking, what's the schedule going to be like? Because the schedule has not been announced yet. And he responded, Combo Breaker has always had our Sunday schedule influenced by game attendance. We believe that the most engaged final is the game with the most eliminated players in the room. The business and politics of this is that every community, every developer, publisher, every TO wants their game in a marquee spot. As someone who has been particularly fond of games that never see the final Sunday slot, though I am not a believer that this slot is mandatory for entertainment. So having the slot exist solely as an attendance reward has always made the most sense to me. Otherwise, Killer Instinct would be the headline of Combo Breaker every year, which is a very Rick response.
Oh, yeah. But Killer Instinct is a great game, and that more people don't play it.
Sure. Also, great tutorial, Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
Also, really, my God. I listen. I'm super biased of that.
If I were a lady romancing you, I would say, hey, you should play tutorial mode with me in Killer Instinct.
Hey, baby, I got a good tutorial. It's like, learn me something.
But no, okay, so I definitely. First of all, Rick is a great person.
Oh my God! This, by the way, like the whole AMA. If you are interested in running an event or want to know what goes on in the mind of someone who runs an event, and he is one of the. What's the right word? Because it's not just business forward thinking people. Like he's always been the most like.
He's more community forward.
Yes.
Like he cares so much. And
it's not businessy. It's just like outreach. The outreach is
definitely
there, 100%. Like if you want to.
I know that every single time I have a question about anything, I can always ask Rick, and I know that he'll respond. And that is, I mean.
Yes, he's one of the best out there, and this whole AMA is thoroughly good. Highly recommended. I lost the thread. Where were we heading with this? Aside from Rick
Sunday
being
finals.
awesome.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention like just the way that he talks about things in general is very thoughtful.
Yes.
He has a lot of really good ideas, and he just has like a solid, like really good knowledge base, and just like I don't know. I wish I knew like what his brain was like, because he's just so like he and Kat are a perfect match for each other, because they're both like super thoughtful, super like just inquisitive people that. You know, if you ask him something, he's going to respond in a way that is super eloquent and like insightful. And you're just like, wow.
Not dismissive and not just the bar none answer, except for this fucking thing about hot ham and cheese sandwich. Fuck you and your lame ass. That's the whitest ass sandwich I've ever heard of.
Oh my God. What?
I'm going to sandwich shame this motherfucker right here. Hot ham and cheese.
I think I need some backstory. Excuse me.
It's just in the AMA. Someone asked him what's favorite sandwich, and he said hot ham and cheese. In all seriousness, I'm not actually going to shame someone for liking a hot ham and cheese sandwich. That's just fine. It's just.
I mean, maybe it's comfort food. You know, you never know.
Expected a pensive man like Rick to answer something like maybe a Reuben.
That's what I was saying. It's like a Reuben sounds pretty good, but also I do enjoy a turkey club. So
the turkey club, yeah, meatball sub, meatball subs.
Meatball subs are great. I also enjoy like oh man, whenever you get like those gourmet grilled cheese places and they put like mac and cheese in your grilled cheese and you're just like dying.
Have you ever made a grilled cheese sandwich and then also put cheese on the outside?
I have never done that, but you're making me hungry.
What you do, and well, I don't want to steal Sajam's bit. I don't know if this is how he makes a grilled cheese, but I've seen him say that he can go long on a grilled cheese.
Oh my God.
But my trick on a grilled cheese is you get some sharp cheddar, because obviously that's the only acceptable cheese for a grilled cheese sandwich.
Agreed.
And you shred it, of course. And you melt you have it open, you've buttered the sides, and you're melting the cheese, and then when you stick it together, though, on that top hot side, you lay a little bit of cheese on top of the outside and just immediately flip it over and just let that cheese rest on the pan, and it's going to get like good, nice and hard, crusty cheese on the outside. So it's like you've got hard cheese on the outside.
You are so passionate about
melty cheese on the inside. Listen, we're only going in on grilled cheese. Don't you even get me started on pizza. I can talk at length about pizza.
Okay, question though. Chicago deep dish or New York style?
I accept all pizza. I love and accept all pizza. I am not discriminatory when it comes to the thickness of your pizza. Thick sauce need love too.
Oh my God.
That is my official stance. My joke stance is that I don't eat lasagna. Okay, so
which is essentially Chicago pizza.
Yeah, speaking of combo breaker. Chicago deep dish. So this is interesting. I'm actually thinking that DBZ is going to be the headliner of this show. It's not said explicitly. He's not explicit about it, but I think the numbers and what he's said might imply that DBFZ might be the headliner.
Yeah, because I mean, okay, we have everybody who they have everybody who's anybody, and The hype in the room was pretty good at Texas Showdown, but I can only imagine how crazy it's going to be at Combo Breaker. And I wish I was going just for that alone. You know, I know that the hype's going to be insane. And I definitely agree that you want that game that everyone comes for. And like you said, that you have the most eliminated players because they're going to be interested and they're going to be following what's happening.
It makes sense.
Especially when you get a group like who are into, like, because I mean, the players who are interested in Dragon Ball, like, they are, you know, like it's a very intense, deep love, and I you can see that kind of passion, which is what, in my opinion, competitive fighting gaming is all about. Is you see that passion, you see that energy, and everyone has a good time, and that's what Rick is aiming for. And I definitely agree with you when you say Dragon Ball is going to be like it. Like, yeah, I think it will too.
Yeah. And I actually think that's probably a good point to stop talking about all of the fun, actually, like all the business stuff. All the business stuff aside, that's all the time. I mean, I know I had more stuff planned, but we're kind of running into our time limit here.
Oh, boy.
I know. And I know I've got you on the phone, too, so it's like... I know when I have a long conversation on the phone, it like heats up and I get like a hot cheek. I'm super against a hot cheek.
I'm actually on my like headphones right now.
Oh, you're on headset? Okay.
Yeah, and I've got my like laptop here in front of me, so I'm actually totally chill. So.
Okay, I don't want to cause a hot cheek. Hot cheeks are it's a bad situation. Someone who drives a lot. God. It's like you get that little bit of sun on the one cheek and it's just infuriating. Okay, so what I like to do, that was completely tangential and not related to anything we're talking about. But that's the last bit of news we're going to cover today. But the one question that I like to leave everyone on with guests on the show is I ask them two questions. The first is, what is your favorite normal attack in any game? Any fighting game? Or any game, actually. I've never expanded it to anything beyond fighting games. I've never like thought outside of that, but let's just say any game.
Well, geez, any game, okay.
Maybe have two answers. Maybe have two answers.
I was like, for fighting games, I keep thinking about how good Bison Standing Mid was in Street Fighter 4. It was really good. It was a really good ass button. That was my favorite button because it just covered. It was optimal. Covered everything. Can't jump. Can't. You must be blocking. No, it was really good. We talked about my other favorite game, though, which is kind of lame. I feel like this is everybody's favorite game, but it holds a really special spot in my heart. I love Okami to death. That game is so good.
Yes, it is.
It's amazing.
Good. The HD release just got released like not too long ago, and it is so.
I've already played through it 5 times.
It reminded me. It is
a long game, and there's so much dialogue, and like the first time you play it, if you sit down and play it for one time, it's like, oh wow, that was amazing. And then if you play it again and you are really used to it, it's like, fuck, oh my god, I'm so tired.
It's like, I know, I need to get to the next part. Yeah, that's the first time you play it, it has this very special thing about it that it like,
well, because especially if you're like a weeb, like you are already interested. It's like, oh, Japanese, wow, this is awesome. But it's done in a way that's really like stylized and charming.
Yeah,
and the pacing, get invested.
Yeah, the pacing is such where you think that every next objective is like, oh, this is going to be the final objective. Like, it's going to the finality here. And then they sweep the rug out from under you, and it's like, oh, I'm fighting this Hydra-like boss again.
Yeah, you have to fight him like 3 times.
Yeah, you have to fight it so many times. But regardless, so very good game, highly recommended. Not a fighting game, although Amy does show up in MVC3, so that's a thing. So you were saying though?
So like my favorite attack in that game is the stupid one that you can buy for like 20,000 yen or whatever, and you poop and then it explodes.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
I played a lot of that game. I don't know if I know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, first of all, you can only get it in the dojo in the mountain. So like towards the end of the game, there's like a dojo in what is it? Kamui. And you go there and you can buy it. And so like you get the pee attack first, where you can pee on people, and then you get the poop one. And I don't know why, but it is just like, why would you do this? But you're a dog, so it makes sense. So you're like, okay. But yeah, aside from that though, in that game, I love the rosary beads and the sword combo. It's really cool.
My mouth is agape right now. I can't believe I've missed the pee and poop attack. My entire life. Like, I've never even...
Well, first of all, you're going to love their names. The P one is called Golden Fury.
Of course, that's a great name for an attack that's also a P. Oh my goodness.
The poop one is called Brown Rage. And whenever I saw this, I was like, what in the world? And I got it and I was like, oh no. I just pooped.
It's a bit aggressive.
It's amazing though, because you get like demon fangs from it and all kinds of. It's just goofy, which is why like there's so much just little stuff to do in that game, and it's just goofy. It has a lot of personality. And I think that is what makes the game fun. Is just personality. So that Capcom, like, make more stage transitions, please.
I feel like. Oh man, I feel like.
Well, now you have to go play.
I've like missed out. Like my heart is like, I can't believe I've missed out on this like my entire life. Oh man.
Well, now it gives you another reason to play through Okami.
It really
waste,
does.
Like a week of your life.
Yeah, let me just Google safe search off poop attack Okami. See what comes up. Okay, so that's the first question. Favorite attack. The second question is, what's your favorite combo?
My favorite combo, oh boy. So I was thinking in terms of like Street Fighter V. I definitely love anything with V-Trigger 2. I love to see Problem use V-Trigger 2 because he is super creative with it.
Yeah, that Psycho Crusher is exciting.
Because
like the command grab stuff
so
too.
The command grab is also amazing with like the bomb and everything. And I remember seeing that for the first time, and I replayed the trailer 28,000 times because Bison's just so cool. And I was like, oh my god, we get Psycho Crusher back. But like it presses up, so you wake up and you get hit. Like that's amazing. But yeah, I would say as far as combos in Street Fighter V goes, definitely anything utilizing V-Trigger 2 because it's hard for me to just narrow it down to one. But out of any
there's a lot of
game,
options there. That's not. It's crazy to say that it can go different paths. But even any fighting game, though.
Yeah, I was thinking. I really love Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I don't care what anyway. So
I am with you. Okay, the two Street Fighter Cross Tekken apologists here in the room. Let's go.
So like, I'm not. I apologize for the DLC blow up. That's stupid. But as far as the game goes, the game is good. I don't know why you guys are tripping. The game is amazing. And it is super fun. And I love it. And the tag combos for the Ultra in that game are super freaking cool. Also, I like how every throw is a cinematic in that game. And I think that they need to bring that back because that is super cool. And I think Balrog's V-Trigger 2 has an attack that's kind of like a cinematic throw. And I was like, I want more of that. I want more of that in Street Fighter V. Like, just little cool things like that, you know?
Yeah, I do like cinematic throws. I loved Kuma in that game. It's so good.
Yeah. There's just, I don't know, that game was just fun. I don't care what anybody else. This game was fun. Bear. But yeah, I think the Bison Jury tag Ultra is really cool.
Get down with that. That's cool. All right. So that'll do it for questions, and that's a show. So again, I think we ought to cover what's going on with you, because you've got a lot of stuff coming up on the horizon that we can talk about. Like, I just want to throw it out there. Like, where can people find you? Because I know for you specifically, there's a lot of places where people can find you. Yeah,
so you can find my writing Red Bull Esports first and foremost. You can also find me on Esports Terminal. They're at, I think it's EST. And at Ginks Esports TV, which they are an outlet based out of the UK, but they also have a TV station in Canada as well. And you can also find me as just an FGC hostess for certain things. I do have something coming up later in the year, which I think you'll be excited about. For
not
that
allowed
kind
to talk
of
about,
thing.
of course, probably.
Probably not, but it's been confirmed for me, so I don't want to just like say it. But yeah, there's something coming up towards the end of the year. And then also I will be at E3 coming up. I'm doing some work there for Red Bull and some other people. So there's E3 at the beginning of the week and then Conquest LA. So I'll be there all week.
Do you have any hopes for E3? Can I like cut you off and ask you that insert question here?
I'm hoping that I'll be able to play Cody at E3 if that's a thing. I'm excited about that. I also hope that we
hadn't even
Mortal
thought
Kombat.
about that.
You know, people. I think I saw somebody tweet about it, and I was like, you know, you're right. I want to play Cody really bad. So
like that's where video game announcements are made.
And like I'm hoping for a new Mortal Kombat as well. So like there'll be some cool fighting game stuff there. It won't be like the whole MVCI thing where everyone's going back there and playing, which I was at, by the way. And that whole thing was a blow up. That was stupid. But definitely it'll be fun to play Cody.
You're just a Capcom shill, and everybody knows
you know, I am a Cap cuck, but also I really don't think it's wrong to be unapologetic about stuff that you like. I like Capcom. I also love other games. Like
CapCut for Lord Bison.
CapCut,
unapologetically.
Yeah, exactly. That's like, do you guys want to know about me? Just know I love Bison. So
yeah, like be aware on that Twitter follow.
Oh, speaking of which, Street Fighter responded to me today, and I was like, well, because they were like, "Happy birthday, Alex." And they showed a GIF of Alex like beating the crap out of Bison, and I was like, "Excuse me," type. Why are you beating up my husband? And they go, "Because it's Tuesday," and I was like, "Oh." But you're not gonna say, oh, okay. So like, he is my husband. Is this what's happening?
They did not deny. They did not deny that that Lord Bison.
They did not confirm nor deny. So you know.
You know how it is.
Just saying, I might be canon.
Yeah, it's totally canon. Okay, so I cut you off. That's your E3 hopes. Any other like E3 hopes? I'm kind of like
E3 hopes. Oh yeah, well I know. Also has those adventure games coming out. I'm not sure if they're just like ports or like
what's this?
They had like 2 adventure games that were announced. Like we don't know what they are. They could be like collections or like ports to, because they do have one that's not going to PS4. It's going to everything else. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be like a port that is like a remastered or something. But they have another one. And the weeb in me hopes that we will see a new Okami. I doubt that will happen. I figured like we would have heard something about it.
Yeah.
But that is like my ultimate dream, is to have a sequel to Okami that's not Okami Den, because Okami Den was kind of bland in my opinion. I didn't really care for it.
Yeah.
I think a sequel done in the style of the original game would be crazy. So that is my ultimate hope. I'm also looking forward to everything else being announced. Also, like I'm down to play a bunch of new games. I've been trying to get more recently, but yeah, I think that I think that's what I'm hoping for E3.
Yeah. Okay. So that's your E3 hopes. I cut you off though on where people can see you and get more content from you.
Yeah. So Red Bull Esports Terminal, Ginks Esports TV. Those are the 3 outlets that I write for now. I'm also hosting an event towards the end of the year, but I also highly suggest that you guys check out par.gg. I'm their ambassador for their program, and it is amazing. If you guys are looking for something that is like a really cool place to share fighting game data and just kind of get to know new people, definitely check that out.
Share a link for that in the show notes. So if you scroll down or look in the show notes of this podcast, there'll be a link to it down below.
Yep, but so far that is. And you can also find me on Twitter. EXTopDoll, the O's are zeros because I'm edgy. I'm on Twitch as the same thing, EXTopDoll. But yeah, that's where you can find me at if you're interested in a bunch of lewd Bison stuff and esports articles. Do
you have a schedule for your stream?
For my stream, actually not yet, because I just got my new setup, my new desk, and I'm trying to think about like having a schedule. I think obviously more people enjoy weekends, but I think weekday streams would be nice too. I had to ask. Yeah, but I'll be coming out with that shortly. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, like, and you're interested, please go do so, because I'll be making a poll asking like when people would like to see me, because I'm playing through a couple story-based games right now that I think would be fun. And also going to try to be starting to do more Street Fighter stuff. So yeah, I actually, we're like running out of time, but I kind of want to nerd out again because I saw that you were playing Neo, and I fucking love that game. Neo is so good. I don't. Okay, I'm not sure if it was because my family was over this weekend and like I just had a lot going on. But I was sucking so hard last night at that game. I was like, what in the world? I'm usually not this bad.
Oh yeah, so, you like can't. You actually can't rush in that game. If you rush, you get penalized for it.
Yeah. So like, I was just trying to like, and plus like you have to really watch the movement and you have to like dodge. Like you basically have to like try your hardest at every single enemy, and it sucks because it's like I just want to be lazy right now.
Yeah. But you do have to try really hard at every enemy.
I'm stuck on the Umi Bozu like ocean monster right now, and he has so many one shot one kill.
Yeah,
things,
at that point in the game, like, his damage is like crazy high.
Yeah,
I agree.
And so I'm like, should I level up a little bit more and just grind? But I was like, how often? Like, how much will that help me though? But yeah, no, Neo is super great. Like, it feeds every single interest that I have. Like history.
That game goes Japan, places, and it is thoroughly good. It's thoroughly good. That's actually something that I've been meaning to go back to. It's just a really good game, and I like the way that it plays. What weapons are you using in that game?
Okay, so I started. Okay,
continue to, like, I'm gonna keep going down different rabbit holes. Like, I know we've like already tried to end this episode a couple minutes ago, but I kind of want to dig into this.
Well, okay, so I started with the dual uchikatana, and those are super fun. They're super like if you do low stance, there's like da 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 da. And
so
I was
fast,
like, whoa,
and don't have a lot of stamina. Like they don't take
no,
up a lot of stamina.
well,
It's very quick attacks.
Yeah, well, no, are you sure? Because like if you do low stance, you like can do like a bunch of combos, and you still have stamina left over.
Well, yeah, they don't take.
Oh yeah, they don't use it. Yeah. So I started out with those, but then I realized, oh, those don't do as much damage, and like low stance is kind of bad. So now I've been using just like the regular katana, and like I've been using mid stance because it's not like it takes like mid stamina, and I've reached max familiarity with it. So I'm like, all right, I'll just stick with this. But I did play around with the kurasigama, like the little swingy thing.
Yes.
That was pretty cool. I was like, whoa, that's awesome, but it takes so much stamina. And I'm like, it's also kind of like hard to use. So I'm like figuring out, okay. But I think that will be like my next experiment is like trying to get good with that.
Yeah, cool. I liked using that specifically for like long range stuff. I found that the high stance with that was really useful for enemies that were just like, that I could keep away.
Yeah.
But I thought that the low stance would be okay because it does have a parry, but then parries in that game are weird because there's only certain moves that you can parry, and it's not communicated very well of what that is.
It's not.
That's my one gripe about that game. I'm
the kind of person that I tend to go to whatever looks really cool. So like the low stance, like dual swords, and then like the little kurasingama, like that in low stance is like do 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 do, and it's like oh my god, look at all this stuff. Like it's not doing too much damage, but it looks really cool. And I was like, oh man, I want to play this, and like I end up dying because not enough damage, and I'm just doing stupid. But yeah. For now, I'm just using the katana, and then my secondary is the dual swords. And I love, honestly, I'm not.
I like a big axe.
I have never actually been a fan of like big heavy weapons. I like to be quick and like be able to get out of stuff. I think it's like my fight or flight response is very much like I don't want to like be in the middle of a huge thing and then they can get me. So
that's fair, totally fair. I don't know. Like later on, I found it like being able to switch between stances like becomes super useful because even like at the point in the game that you're at, like you're still like really early in terms of like the special abilities available to you. So like when you start unlocking stuff that's like, oh, change stance to retain more stamina, and it's like, oh, okay, I'll just do that. And then like having to like remember combos into like different stance changes and all that fun stuff. That game is so good. That game is so good. I didn't know you could
do that. You can do that? You can like combo and like change stances and stuff at the same time?
Yeah, it's real good. It's real good.
There's a lot to that game. And I remember me at first, but my friend Phil was kind of like, he taught me a little bit about what I should do.
There's a lot of really good battle depth to that game that like later on totally pays off in ways that it's one of those things where missions will become available to you that are like well outside of the rank that you can like should be able to do them, but then you can like perform well enough to beat them, and like the penalties for like losing really aren't that bad in that game. At least I don't think so.
Yeah, they're not awful. I mean, it's not like still like losing all your souls is pretty soul crushing, especially if you had a lot and you're like, fuck. Sure. But it's not on the same level as like Bloodborne or Dark Souls is, because then it's like, oh fuck, oh my god. But like this one is just more frustrating because it's like, oh, I just have to go back to this area now and then get my spirit animal, whatever.
And everything's like tightly packed up in a mission where it's like I can just eat this mission away and then handle that and like we're good.
Well, because the missions don't take too long. They're actually pretty quick, and you get to keep all your items when you die, so you don't have to worry about that.
No, it's a very good video game. Highly recommend it. It's probably on sale somewhere.
Yeah, I got it for like, I can't remember how much I paid for it. I think it's still like, maybe 40 or something.
It's probably like somewhat reduced price.
Yeah. But if you have the money and you're interested in like a game that you'll play for a while, I would definitely suggest it.
Oh yeah, and like I said, like I've totally beaten that game, but like I would go back to that because actually I didn't dig into New Game Plus stuff, and looking ahead at what New Game Plus was, I was like, oh, this is so enticing, but I really should move on, and I had to move on. But I hold it in my heart though. It's in my heart.
You will always miss what was it? You don't know which It's gone.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a poop attack. There might be a poop attack in that game, and I'll never know. I'll never know.
Your spirit animal looks like a flaming turd.
That's the low axe stance. You get a low axe stance, and just comes right out the butt. Yep, that's where it comes. That's where the poop comes from, folks. From the butt.
Wow.
Okay, all right, folks, and that's a Street Fighter podcast if I've ever heard one. But that'll wrap it up. People can find you again on EX Top Doll. The O's are zeros. And you can find me at Super Joe Monday on Twitter, or you can reach out to me on the subreddit as one of the mods, or just respond to this in the Reddit post or through the email, which is redditfighting@gmail.com. If you have any questions, type in questions and I'll get to those during a regular show, which will usually be released on Thursdays. But that's a show, folks. Ginni, thank you for spending the time to talk to me. It was super fun. Yeah, no,
we ended up kind of going off track, but that's always the funnest part. Is like when you just get to talking about stuff. So,
yeah, like I said, I like my podcast fast and loose. What I say, that's how I like to play. Well,
thank you for having me on. I had a good time.
No, it was an absolute pleasure. So thank you very much for joining us, and looking forward to what you got going on in the future, because you are one of the most prolific writers, and I look forward to reading your content every time I see it. But that's the show, folks. Until next time, take care. Bye.
Bye.